Hey, it's the Rec Show podcast. Thanks for joining us. We're able to borrow a studio today, and I'm really thankful for the studio space.
Yeah, it's a really cool studio.
Yeah. It's got a great couch over here. Did I tell you about the couch?
It's just like it's all amazing, and of
It's like it's a furniture store.
It's almost like it's a furniture. Oh wait,
are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking what you're thinking.
McCreary's Home Furnishing. They have this great studio. They're letting us use it. And of course, Sacramento's finest furniture, interior design. They do it all. They'll do it all for you. And they've been here for like over 50 years.
Yeah, it's a family-owned business, and now it's just all the services they offer are really, really cool.
Incredible.
I didn't, when I think furniture stores, I think, furniture stores, not, the quality they have here, all the services. Yeah, I'm very impressed with them.
Yeah, and Chris, the owner, the head cheese, the head couch guy, he really has got a handle on modern technology, furniture, and he's able to his staff is able to point you in the right direction of what you're looking for.
Not only that, but just also they can help you reimagine anything from your entire house, your entire home,
to a room,
to a single room, to your entire office space. So like I said, the services here are shocking. It's not something you're going to get at at this professional level anywhere else. So, definitely, if you're in Sacramento, you need to really check them out. And actually, maybe the best place to start is just checking them out on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook's
they've got lots
great.
of cool little videos and kind of explain what they do.
Yeah, or pick up the phone, give them a call, and say, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Do you guys have something that might fit that? But the videos are really a great place to start because their video production studio that we're in right now, they do videos all the time on things that are changing as far as inventory with maybe couches they have or chairs or tables or something new that's coming out.
Yeah, exactly right.
So definitely check it out, McCreary's Home Furnishing, and it's all happening under the big red awning. Should we get to the show?
Let's get to the show.
Let's get to the show. And we're talking wine, and we're talking wine changes, we're talking wine tasting, and of course things in the last few months have changed for most wine tasting rooms.
Well, I would say for all wineries.
Right,
and things were in flux for a long time.
Right.
Running a tasting room is always, it's a tough thing anyway.
Right.
And with COVID and all the changes that have come about, every single winery has had to change what they do and how they do it. So it'll be interesting to see what some of those changes are, how long they'll last, or are these something that's going to be kind of put into place.
Right.
Right now, every winery that I know of is going to flight tastings.
Right, flights, that's what we've seen.
Those can be fun as well. It's not as personal an experience, but it does allow you and your guests or whoever you're with to kind of like have moments together. So you're usually seated down, and you order the flight, and it'll come to you, and you guys get to taste along.
Right.
However, one of the things that I always hated about Napa has become a standard at every single winery in California.
What's that?
Setting appointments.
I agree.
One of the fun things for me is like to hit a region and just go.
Drop by.
You drop by and you see what's there. And, sometimes it's a great experience, maybe not sometimes. But
it's new. It's spontaneous.
It's new. It's spontaneous, and it's it gives you that sense of adventure.
Do you think we'll ever get back to somewhat spontaneous wine tasting?
I do. I do think that. We will get to that eventually, but
I disagree. I think it'll be a long, long time coming.
It may be a little longer than we want it to be, but I think that is that there will be some aspect of that as we move forward. I think that's something that the wineries like.
Sure.
To sort of drop by, and also it's a little easier to handle than sometimes. When you're doing flights and those type of tastings, you have to have a staff that's a little bit more akin to a restaurant staff than a winery staff.
Right.
So again, it's a different experience, and I really do hope that we're going to move back to that where you can just sort of drop by and at least have some sort of offering that you could just go to.
Yeah, one of the last wineries we visited was Wise Villa.
Was up there.
And the great thing about them is they have so much space to sit outside. So spacing's not really an issue there. Obviously, it's wine flights, and you can get food from the restaurant and just kind of hang out and enjoy the day. With whoever you brought as company.
And that's and not to put down that experience. It's absolutely fun. It's a great time.
Right.
And I think part of the fun of going out on a wine tasting adventure is that it is an adventure, and you get to explore different areas and maybe wineries that you've never heard of. You're not going to get a chance to do that. And also on the side part of that, the business side of it, that's what's going to be more important for wineries going forward, is how are they going to let you know that they exist.
Right.
So everybody.
I have an idea.
Yeah, I know you do. But aside from self promotion, one of the toughest things I think wineries attack is their marketing.
I agree.
How do I? Some of my favorite wineries I found completely on accident.
Right.
And
word
now,
of mouth,
and but we're not going to get that as much anymore. So.
Well, I think wineries and breweries are kind of in the same boat in my mind. Is they got a great local beer or a great local wine, but who knows about it?
Yeah.
And maybe they have their crowd, their fans.
Sure.
But you got to get out of that to increase your business. You got to let more people know about what you're doing.
And figure out the best way to tell people. Is it all on social? Is there some sort of traditional marketing that needs to be put in place? Different partnerships, things like that.
I think it's a combo. You got to do kind of a little bit of everything.
You're going to have to do a little bit of everything, and you're also just going to have to step up your game.
Right.
Always. I mean, right now there's something like over 4,000 wineries in California alone.
Right.
What do you do to differentiate yourself from anybody else? Branding is part of it, but engagement is, also a little bit more important.
And not only, are there 4,000 wineries in California, but think of the states that border California, Oregon, obviously.
Oregon, Washington.
Right. Yeah.
I have a friend who's trying to get me to move to Kansas, and
really?
Believe it or not, he's insane. Okay. But believe it or not, Kansas has a wine trail. And they do.
I think I saw something about that.
And there's 7 or 8 wineries in this particular area, and I was just shocked. And Kansas, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to me. It's like people love making wine.
Right.
And they will find any place they can do it. And, even if you don't have the grapes in that particular region that really kind of pull it off, they'll get grapes from California.
Yeah. They'll figure it out.
It's kind of cool. So anyway, those are just some of the challenges facing wineries. Those are some of the changes.
Right.
So we'll see how those move forward. I mean, I see that I agree with you to a certain extent that the flights will definitely stick around.
I think, at least through 2021 or to midpoint 2021.
Exactly. And, we're going to start facing some more difficult times as well. Pretty soon the weather's going to change.
Right.
And,
fall's coming.
Fall's coming and, and winter's coming. And, are you going to be able to sit outside comfortably and, taste wine? It's going to be a tough thing.
Another thing, and then we'll move on, but I think the virtual wine tasting, the Zoom calls and stuff, I think there's some burnout right now going on with that a little bit.
I'd say that there's a certain amount of fatigue. I think, one thing that happened because of COVID, regardless of the winery, if they were strong in their social media or they weren't, everybody got online.
Right.
And, and they kind of did it by hey, we're going to do a virtual tasting. That's what other wineries are doing, And I think what they found is virtual tastings are not nearly as interesting as other types of virtual events.
Right.
And personally, if you don't have the wine in front of you, watching somebody else taste wine,
exactly.
That's torture for me personally.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like somebody having a nice steak.
Yeah, exactly.
You go, wow,
it's
this is a great steak.
That looks good. That satisfied me just looking at it. No. That's not what happens.
Well, I think the thing too is, the thing is some of the winemakers and everything aren't used to being on camera.
Yeah.
That's not something. Some are, and have been on camera for years and very, very good. And so you're getting a quality difference from winery to winery.
To be sure.
Some are great, and the Zoom calls go off great, and the video's great, and the wine tasting experience is great, and you learn something about that wine. Mm-hmm. Others of them are filled with technical glitches or something like that.
I think that's one of the nice things about social media is we're fairly forgiving as long as you have fairly good content.
Yeah, exactly.
And what we're going to see going forward is that shift from virtual tastings to more interesting content. Learning more about the winemaker, learning more about the wines, maybe learning more about wine in general versus their specific wine.
Right, exactly.
I think that's where you're starting to see the virtual meetups and things like that. That's where they're going.
Yeah, I think it's about education and entertainment.
Absolutely.
And I think those two things need to go together. With a wine tasting, it needs to be entertaining.
Absolutely.
And maybe you're going to be able to learn something about a certain varietal that maybe you didn't know, and that's your favorite varietal. But I think it's going to be a mixing of entertainment and education about that wine, and where folks can take some knowledge away.
Sure, and also, let's not exclude, things about that winery, and every winery is very different.
Oh, totally.
So you can get a better sense of a winery from these type of videos if they're done well.
Right.
So so it's opening it up to a wine club and showing things that you guys are doing, that the wineries are doing, whether it's some sort of event. You're starting to see some smaller events happen, like even just the flight tastings and things like that. And sometimes they throw music in the corner somewhere. So that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I mean, these are some changes that I think we're all going to go through together.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be really interesting to see kind of what sticks.
Yeah. What because I think through this whole time, there's certain things that we think that may not stick that will end up sticking as habits, as things that we've become used to.
Yeah, and also it becomes learned behavior by the people who are going out and doing all the tasting. So I mean we can get into the weeds on something like this. Just the industry has been changed.
Right.
And the experiences are changing, and wineries are doing their best to create new and interesting experiences, for their wine club, for their, for their tasters, and to really, at the end of the day, show off the art, the craft of their wine.
Right, exactly. And that's really what it's all about. Thanks for joining us on the Rex Show podcast.
I'm Jeremy, the existential wine guy.
Right. And I'm Rex on the radio, and we'll catch up with you next time right here on the Rex Show podcast.
Cheers and love.